related to cyber security. Okay, so guys, let me start it again. My name is Ashutosh and welcome to another session on domain analytics by 360DigiTMG. And talking about the domain analytics, the domain which we are discussing today is cybersecurity analytics. The agenda for today's session is going to be, we will try to understand what is cybersecurity, difference between cybersecurity analytics and data analytics, what are the various types of attacks related to cybersecurity, benefits of cybersecurity analytics. We will also be seeing some use cases pertaining to cybersecurity and how machine learning is useful for cybersecurity. What are its usage? How can we use the machine learning for cybersecurity? All these topics we will be discussing. So without further ado, let's start the session for today, guys. So coming to our first question, what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity, guys, is the practice of defending your computers, your servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and even your data from what? From malicious attacks. It's also known as information technology security or electronic information security. Okay. Now, the term applies in a variety of contexts, as in from business to mobile computing, and it can be divided into few common categories. Okay. So what is our cybersecurity, guys? Cybersecurity analytics is the use of data aggregation, attribution, and analysis to extract the information. What information? The information necessary for a proactive approach to cybersecurity. How can we use that information to strengthen our cybersecurity? Right. Now, cybersecurity analytics leverages your machine learning capabilities. What is machine learning, guys? Machine learning is nothing but making your machine learn a pattern, right? So here, cybersecurity analytics leverages your machine learning capabilities to help continuously monitor the network and identify changes in use patterns or network traffic so as the threats can be addressed immediately. By saying this, it can be, your cybersecurity can be divided into few common categories. As in, say your network security. Network security. What is network security, guys? Network security is the practice of securing a computer network from whom? From intruders or targeted attackers or opportunistic malware. All these things hamper your network. This is your network security. Then another term is your application security. Application security. Application security, guys, it focuses on keeping the softwares and devices free of threats. A compromised application, what will happen? Now, suppose if you have an app in your mobile or on your iPad and it gets compromised, what will happen? A compromised application could provide access to the data which is designed to protect. Security, successful security, it begins in the design stage of this application, well before a program or a device is deployed. That is your application security. Another term is your information security. Information security. Information security, guys, it protects the integrity and the privacy of the data. You have your mobile, right? You have your laptop. You will be having a lot of data in it. We all use Facebook nowadays. We all use Instagram. We do various searches on Google. Now, what searches or what all data you are having on your mobile or on your, social media networks, that is something very private to you. Suppose all this data a third person gets access to. Now that is going to be very catastrophic for you guys, right? So information security protects the integrity and the privacy of the data, both in storage as well as your transit, right? Okay. And there is another term called as your operational security. Operational security. What is this? Operational security includes the process and decisions for handling and protecting your data assets. Data assets. The permissions that users have, when they are using a network, and the procedures that determine how and where data may be stored or shared or fall under this umbrella. That is your operational security, right? Then we have something called as your disaster recovery and business continuity. Disaster recovery and business continuity. What is this, guys? This defines how an organization responds to a cybersecurity. If there is some threat or something like that, what this does is it defines how your organization is going to respond to the cybersecurity incident or any other event that causes the loss of the operations or your data. Now, the disaster recovery policies dictate how the organization restores its operations and informations to return to the same operating capacity as before the event, right? You are working, you are, head of an organization. That organization got hit by a cyber attack. How you are returning back to that original position where you were before this attack happened, that is your disaster recovery. Okay. Now, business continuity. What is this thing? Business continuity is the plan the organization falls back on while trying to operate without certain resources. Suppose during that cyber attack, you lost some resources. You cannot shut down your operations, right? So business continuity is that plan which helps the organization falls back on while trying to operate without your certain resources. Still, the show must go on, right? Okay. Another thing, that is your end user education. End user education. End user education, guys, addresses the most unpredictable cyber security factor. What is that? That factor is your people. Anyone, you are working in an organization. Suppose there is an organization, a person comes with a virus or something like that with a pen drive. Yeah, boom. you are under your cyber attack. So, end user education addresses the most unpredictable cyber security factor, which is people's, right? Anyone can accidentally introduce a virus to you can say an otherwise secure system by failing to follow your good security practices. Then what should you do? Teaching users to delete suspicious mails, attachments, right? And not, plug in your unidentified USB drives and other various important lessons, that is vital for the security of the organization. So end user education is very much required. Okay, moving ahead. Cyber security use cases. Okay. So these are some use cases, pertaining to our real life experience, we can say, or where you can use our cyber cyber security analytics. It can be implemented for a wide variety of use cases, from, user behavior monitoring to your network traffic analysis. And some of the most common use cases, include analyzing your network traffic. You are working on your internet, continuously there is the traffic. If you analyze those traffic, you will observe a pattern, and if there is the change in that pattern, it will indicate a potential attack. Monitoring user behavior, especially potentially suspicious behavior, detecting insider threats, detecting data exfiltration, identifying accounts that may have been compromised. All these things, all these are where, cybersecurity analytics can help you a lot. Right? Okay. And while we were discussing about your cybersecurity use cases, let us also not forget what is, or at least we should discuss that, what is the scale of cyber threat. Yeah, it is also always a good idea to, have an idea of how brutal your enemy is going to, attack you. So let us see the scale of the cyber threat. The global cyber threat, guys, continues to evolve over rapid space. It is continuously evolving. Why? Because a lot of data is being generated. Every day, a lot of data is being generated. There doesn't go a day, where less data is being generated than the previous day. So when we have a scenario where a lot of data is being generated, the global cyber threat continues to evolve at a rapid pace. Hence, with a rising number of data breaches each year, guys, there was a report by, risk-based security firm, which revealed that a shocking 7.9 billion records have been, exposed by data breaches in the first 9 months of 2019. Forget about 2021, 22. Now this figure must have been many folds when we are talking about 2022, right? This figure is more than double. This figure of 7.9 billion. This figure is more than double. That is your 112%. The number of the records exposed in the same period in 2018. So in just 1 year, from 2000 to 2019, it was double. Your medical services, retailers, even your public entities, all these experience the most breaches. And how? With malicious criminals responsible for most incidents. Now, some of these sectors were, more appealing to the cyber criminals, because what they do is they collect the financial and the medical data. Very important information, right? Financial, medical data. suppose a third person get holds of your, ATM pin or whatever OTP you are getting for a transaction on your mobile. Just imagine the kind of, problem you will be getting. So some of these sectors, they were more appealing to the cyber criminals because they were collecting your financial and medical data. But all businesses, that use networks that can be targeted for customer data, corporate espionage, right? Or your customer attacks. Now, with this scale of cyber threat set to continue to rise, the International Data Corporation, what it does is it predicts that worldwide spending on cybersecurity solutions will reach a massive of 133.7 US dollars, 133.7 billion US dollars by 2022. Remember what we are discussing? We are discussing the scale of cyber threat. And these are all the real things, real data I'm providing you. What happens is governments across the globe now, they have started responding to the rising cyber threat with guidance to help the organizations implement effective cybersecurity practices. Even you guys must have observed, right? You are getting messages on your mobile from your TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, and they say that, don't share your OTPs, which you are getting with the third person. Even your bank guys, they keep on messaging you. So now governments and the organizations, now when they have seen the surge in this, cyber threat, a huge surge. So they have started to be more cautious. Now they have started to tell the people, warn the people about the threats which they are possessing, the cyber threats which they are prone to. In the US, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, guys, what they did is they have created a cybersecurity framework. And what this framework does, it helps to combat the proliferation of your, malicious codes. And how they do that? They do that by early detection. The framework which they have prepared, it recommends the continuous and the real-time monitoring of all the electronic resources. Okay. Now, the importance of system monitoring is echoed, in the 10 steps of cybersecurity. 10 steps of cybersecurity. And this is something, which is provided by the UK government's National Cyber Security Center. All these are your factors which you can say determine your, scale of cyber threat. How your, cyber threat has been increasing many folds every year. Okay, proceeding further, moving ahead. So now that is fine. We understood what is, cyber security analytics, what is, cyber attacks, and what is the scalability of that cyber attacks. But the question arises that, is there any difference between data science analytics and cyber security analytics? And if it is, then what is the difference, right? Many people must be interested in knowing that. So data science key objective, guys, is to extract a valuable insight. And how does it do that? By processing your big data, right? Big data into specialized and more structured data. While cyber security, it protects and secures your big data pool and network from unauthorized access. That is one difference. What is another difference? Cyber security is the practice of protecting your electronic data system from whom? From criminals or your unauthorized behavior. The discipline ultimately functions as a preventive measure of defending. What it is doing? Ultimately, it is defending your confidential data and data processes from unwanted breaches. All your, whatever information you are having on your laptop, that is a confidential data, right? Personal data. So cyber security helps in protecting that confidential data.
Sir,
Data
excuse me,
science.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, your voice is a little bit unclear. So can you please?
Yeah. Now is it clear, guys? Is it okay now?
No, sir, it's same.
Same. Okay, just a moment. Guys, now is my voice clear? Quick confirmation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Better? Okay. Thanks for bringing that error in the knowledge base. Thank you. Much appreciated. Anyways, let us continue. So the data scientists, guys, on the other hand, have a more abstract role, as their work isn't purely focused on analytics or engineering. Rather, it is a multidisciplinary position. And what is that multidisciplinary position? It means that it comprises of, a mix of collecting, extracting, and analyzing large amounts of data from multiple resources. We all know that, right? We are working as a data scientist or we are aspiring data scientists. So we understand that whatever is written over here, that is absolutely correct, right? All these things are absolutely correct. Sorry. Now, what happens is this area requires the understanding of artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence, guys? Artificial intelligence is nothing but giving the capability of human thinking to your machine, right? We are giving a machine to mimic the human brain. That is artificial intelligence. As in, if I were to give an example, your Amazon Alexa, the way we communicate with each other, in the same way you can communicate with your Alexa. If you talk about your self-driving cars, XTCs, when you drive a car, you are applying the brake, you are applying the accelerator, clutch, all these things. The same way in self-driving cars, your machine is doing that. So your artificial intelligence is doing that. So this area of a data scientist, it requires the understanding of your artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques such as support vector machines, regression, cluster analysis, and neural networks. Okay. In order to carry out roles effectively, data scientists, what they should do, they must be able to drive big data decisions to meet the objectives and your complex problems, right? We need to solve the complex problems. What happens? You are working as a data scientist. What will happen? First thing first, you will receive a business problem from the client and you need to solve. So solving your complex problems. This requires your data professionals to master a comprehensive range of technical and analytical skills, right? And we all know that a person, who is having good hands in mathematics, statistics, and they have a strong interest in analytics, machine learning, he can or she can be a very good data scientist. AI and consulting are a brilliant fit for a career in data science industry, all these things. So that is your, short difference between your data science and cyber security analytics. Moving ahead. Types of attacks. Okay. So these are some of the types of attacks. What are these? Okay. The first one which we are having is called as reconnaissance attack. What is this? This attack is a type of cyber attack, guys, that, an attacker uses to gather all the possible information about the target. In this, what a attacker is doing, he is gathering all the possible information even before launching the attack. The attacker uses a reconnaissance attack as a preparation tool. What is this? This is a preparation tool. Prep tool. For what? For an actual attack. Okay. There is something called as your fuzzers. What is fuzzers? Okay. Yeah, even before going to fuzzers, when we are discussing about your reconnaissance attack, let me tell you, there is something called as a social reconnaissance attack as well. What is this? Yeah, my bad. Social reconnaissance attack as well. What is this? In this attack, what happens is a hacker, what he does is usually he uses a social engineering to gather the information about the target. What he is doing, he is using or he is sharing a lot of personal and business information on the what happens. Suppose you are a user and you are sharing a lot of personal and business information on the social networking site. We share, when we go to, say, we went to Malaysia or Maldives for our vacation. On the Facebook, we will say that, we just checked it in this hotel in Maldives. So if a user is sharing a lot of personal and business information on your social networking site, a hacker, can use social networking sites to gather those information about the target. For example, if the target is a company, the hacker can use your, social networking site to reveal the information about the company's employee. The hacker can use honey trap techniques to lure an employee. And now once the employee accepts the friend request of the attacker, the hacker starts the next step, which is he convinces the employee to reveal the information about the business. Getting the point, guys? All this is your example of social reconnaissance. Then there is something called as your public reconnaissance. What is this? In this type of attack, your hacker is collecting the information about the target from public domains. Here, what he is doing, collecting from the social media, right? The information which is being shared by the user. But in public, your hacker collects information from the public domains, like your company shares the location and the business model information on various websites. A hacker can use this information to determine the location of the target. And from this information, a hacker can also determine what kind of infrastructure a target uses. Suppose the most web hosting companies, they share, information about their servers and security equipment. Now, companies share this information to attract new customers, right? That is the motto behind it. And besides this, they also want to gain the trust of the existing customer. But hacker can use this information to find the vulnerabilities in the company's network. Okay. Then there is something called as a software reconnaissance. Software. What is this? In this type of attack, what happens? A hacker uses software tools to gather the information about the target. Operating system, software packages. Now, these things, they include tools and utilities for debugging and troubleshooting, right? We all must have used troubleshooters and all these things. Now, a hacker can use them to collect the information about the network and its resources. Okay. All these are your example of, reconnaissance. And then we have something called as your fuzzers. What is a fuzzer? All of us, a first testing of fuzzing, is a black box software testing software testing technique. Okay, so this is exactly your black box software testing technique. What exactly happens? Now, this basically consists in finding implementation of bugs using malformed or semi-malformed data injection, guys. And where it is injected in your, how it is injected in an automated fashion. That is your fuzzers of fuzzing. For example, let us consider, an integer in a program which is storing a result of a user's choice between three questions. Now, when a user picks one, the choice will be 0, 1, or 2, which make three practical cases, right? But what if we transmit 3 or 2, 5, 5? We can, because integers are, stored in a static size variable, guys. If the default switch case hasn't been implemented securely, the program may crash, and thus it may lead to classical security issues, as in exploitable buffer overflows, DOS, all these things. So fuzzing is the art. In simple words, if I were to say, then fuzzer or fuzzing is an art of automatic bug finding, and its role to find software implementation faults and identify them if it is possible. Then we have something called as your backdoor. Imagine, guys, you are say you are a burglar casing a house of potential robbery. You see a protected by security sign, right? We see protected by this, that, all these signs are there. We see in most of the Western countries. Now you are a burglar and you are seeing a protected by something like this security sign is staked in the front lawn or your ring doorbell camera. Being, you are a very smart burglar. You hop the fence leading to the back of the house. You see there's a back door and you try to knock, and what happens? It's unlocked. To the casual observer, there are externally signs of a, there are no external signs of a burglary. But in fact, there is no reason you couldn't rob this house through the same back door again, assuming that you can ransack the place, guys. That is your back door. Now, computer backdoor works in, much same way. In the world of cybersecurity, a backdoor refers to any method by which your authorized and unauthorized users are able to get around your normal security measures and gain high-level access. High-level access, when I say, what I mean to say is your root access, guys. Root access on your computer system, or maybe your network, or maybe your software applications, all this. So that is your backdoor. What is exploit? Okay. Okay, what is exploit? Now, exploit attack, refers to a program, you can say. It basically refers to a program or a code that takes the advantage of your security weakness in an application or a system. Exploiting something, quite relatable. So if a person is weak, people exploit them. In the same way, exploit attack refers to a program or, a code that takes the advantage of a security weakness. Okay. Then we have something called as your shell code. Shell code, we know that shell code has nothing to do with shell scripting. We all know that. So why the name shell code? Now, the term shell code was historically, used to describe code executed by your target program due to vulnerability exploit and used to open a remote shell. What is that? That is an instance of a command line interpreter, guys. Command line interpreter, so that attacker could use that shell to further interact with the victim system. It usually only takes a few line of codes, guys, to spawn a new shell process. That easy it is. So propelling shell is very lightweight, efficient means of your attack, so long as we can provide the right input to the target program. Then we have something called as worms. Now, worm is, a new type of evil program, you can say. And it was basically designed by the cyber criminals that can, self-imitate from one system to another, devoid of the need for someone to uh, implement the file, you can say, or transmit the infections to the other system. The word transmits automatically through local networks or the internet, infecting the systems that are not sufficiently protected. The modern words are highly sophisticated, things. They are getting prone to this kind of work. Okay, then we have something called as your DOS. What is a DOS? Okay. The primary focus of this DOS attack is to overstature the capacity of the targeted machine, guys. And what happens then? It results in a denial of service. Denial of a service. Okay. Denial of a service. If you are making an additional request, you will be getting the denial of a service. Now, the multiple attack vectors of DOS attacks can be grouped by two similarities, right? The first similarity is called as your buffer overflow attacks, and another one is called as your flood attacks. Besides this, there are other forms of attacks as well, right? Now, let me tell you some common type of attacks you people must have heard about, or you people must be aware about. What are those attacks? Okay, you guys must have heard about, malware. Malware, okay. Malware. Malware basically means a malicious software, guys. One of the most common cyber threat it is. We have heard about virus, right? Virus, a self-replicating program, guys. What it does is it attaches itself to the clean file and spreads through a computer system. And what eventually happens, it infects the files with your malicious codes. We all must have heard about Trojan, right? Trojan is a type of malware that is disguised as a legitimate, software. And these cyber criminals, they trick users into uploading Trojans onto their computer, where they can, cause damage or collect the data. All these things they can do. We have heard about spyware as well. What is spyware? Spyware is a program that secretly records. Spy works very secretly. Huh? We know that. Spies. So a spyware is a program that secretly records what a user is doing, so that cyber criminals can make use of that information. For example, spyware could, capture your credit card details maybe. All right. We all have heard about something called as ransomware. Uh, Purna Priyanka, I'm not getting you. What is that? 000? Purna Priyanka, what is that? Do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so I was not getting what you're saying, Purna Priyanka. 0000, what is that?
I think it is by mistake and it got, I think.
Okay, okay, no worries, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah. Ransomware, guys. Now, a malware which locks down a user's file and data and erasing all these unless a ransom is paid. Ransom, right? So that is a ransomware. We have heard about, adware. We have heard about adware. Adware, guys, advertising software, advertising, which can be used to spread your, various malwares. Botnets, we have heard about. Botnet, network of your malware infected computers, which cyber criminals are now using these days to perform tasks online without the user's permission. All these are your various types of attacks. We have SQL injection also. We have heard about, phishing. Phishing is, yet again, is when, cyber criminals, they are targeting victims with emails that appear to be from the legitimate company asking for, sensitive information. Phishing attacks are often used to dupe people into handing over your credit card data or other, personal information, you can see. All these are your various types of cyber attacks. Okay, proceeding further. Even before we proceed further, let me give you guys a latest cyber threat example, or not latest. Let us take very known cyber threat which happened initially in 2019. And what happened was, in December 2019, the US Department of Justice charged the leader of an organized cyber criminal group for their part into a global Dridex malware attack. Research upon it, guys. Dridex malware attack. This happened. If you didn't hear about it, then try reading about it on various platforms. You can try researching on it. Now, this malicious campaign affected, your public government infrastructures as well as your businesses worldwide. Tridex was basically a financial Trojan with a range of capabilities affecting the victim since 2014, guys. Since 2014, past 5 years. It was infecting computers through your phishing emails or existing malware. Capable, talking about the capabilities, was capable of stealing your passwords, banking details, personal data, which can be used in fraudulent transaction. It has caused, a massive financial losses amounting to hundreds and millions of dollars. Now, in response to this, Dridex attack, the UK's National Cyber Security Center advises to the public. They made this advisory to the public to ensure that the devices are patched, antivirus is turned on, and up to date as well. And all your files, files are very prone to these cyber attacks. So your files also needs to be continuously backed. There was yet another very, interesting scam called as your romance scam. Romance scam. What happened in this is that in February 2020, the FBI warned the US citizens to be aware of confidence fraud that, cyber criminals commit using dating sites. A lot of people are using our dating sites like this, Tinder and all these. But these days they are using. There has been, a series on the Netflix called as Tinder Swindler. If you guys haven't seen it, try seeing it. This is a series on your Netflix, right? So in 2020, your FBI warned your US citizens to be aware of confidence fraud that the cyber criminals are using to commit crimes. And they are using your dating sites, they are using your chat rooms and apps. Now, what happens? These people, they take advantage of the people seeking new partners, duping the victims into giving away personal data. You share your photographs and all these things, right? What happened was FBI reported that this, romance scam attack, it threats around 114 victims in New Mexico in 2019. And the financial loss was, you guys won't believe it, was 1.6 million US dollars, guys. 1.6 million US dollars. Romance. Okay. Now, moving ahead. What are the benefits? We discussed about, various things and various topics, but what is the benefit if you choose your cybersecurity analytics? If you are interested in going this speed, how is it going to be beneficial? One of the biggest problem, guys, of the security analytics is the sheer volume and the diversity of the information that can be analyzed at any point. This data include but is not limited to your endpoint and user behavior data, network traffic, business application. All these places, if you are having the issue, non-IT contextual data, external threat intelligence resources, access and identity management data, proof of compliance during an audit, you can get benefited by cybersecurity analytics all over here. This is where you can make benefits by cybersecurity analytics. Now, enough said and done, but how can we use machine learning? We are the data scientists, right? We have been working on the machine learning. How can we use the machine learning for cyber security? Let us see that quickly. Machine learning, guys, is built to approximate the process of the human mind, right? Like, we make a child learn a pattern. Suppose I want to teach a kid about a red color. So what initially will happen is, for a few days, I will be giving that child red toffees, red candies, red teddy bear, red toys. And after a certain time, if I give that child a blue color toy, the child will easily recognize that, it is not a red color, though it will not be able to tell you that it is a blue color because he is a child. But he will be able to recognize that it is definitely not a red color. Initially, what is happening? The child is learning a pattern, and that is the same thing with the machine learning. It is built to approximate the processes of the human mind and allows computers to analyze information, hence making decisions and learn from the past experience. In cybersecurity, guys, machine learning algorithm helps your security team save time by automatically identifying the security incidents and threats, analyzing them, and even automatically responding to them in some cases. Machine learning is built into many modern security tools. It is gradually replacing older methods of inference, such as manually defined rules and your statistical correlations. All these things we used to do manually. But in machine learning, we are making the machine learn the patterns. What patterns? These patterns, defined rules and statistical correlation, right? So that is how we can use our machine learning for your, cyber security. Now, machine learning algorithms comes in many shapes and forms, we know that. But most of them perform one of these three tasks only. What are these tasks? One is your regression, another one is your classification, then is your clustering. Again, what does a regression do? The algorithm identifies your correlation between your different data sets and understand how to do what, understand how and to what degree they are related to each other. Cybersecurity example, guys. Again, we are discussing about which domain? Cybersecurity. So let us try to understand a cybersecurity example pertaining to our regression. Regression can be used to predict next system call of an operating system processes and compare it to the actual call to your identified anomaly. Classification, usually what it does is it is performed by supervised learning algorithm. What it does is it trains on a data of previous observations, right? And to try to apply what they learn to new and unseen data involves taking artifacts which may be textual or your multimedia content and classifying them into one of these several labels. Example, in terms of cybersecurity, classification can be used to classify a binary file into categories such as your legitimate software, spyware. We already discussed all these things, right? Legitimate software, spyware, adware, ransomware. This we discussed few minutes now. Then there is something called as clustering. What it does is it is usually performed by unsupervised learning algorithms, which work directly on the new data without considering your previous examples. Clustering involves identifying commonalities between your artifacts, and what it does is it groups them together. Remember the clustering, how we were grouping it? So it groups them together according to their common features. Cybersecurity example, clustering can be used to analyze your traffic session and identify groups of sessions that may originate from the same source to identify your DDoS attack. Okay, so these are some of your machine learning algorithms which we use for your cybersecurity things. Okay, so this is where, guys, we have discussed about the cybersecurity analytics and its application. In the coming days, we will be discussing more in detail. We will be seeing this classification technique, clustering, your PRISP MLQ methodology. All these things we will be discussing in detail pertaining to our cybersecurity analytics in the coming few days. I hope you guys enjoyed this session, guys. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Keep on learning. Happy learning, guys. All the best. Keep on practicing, and let us meet tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You're welcome. Pradeep, it will be available on your, YouTube channel. You can go through it.